The tsunami brought chaos and destruction to hundreds of miles of the Sri Lankan coastline. The moment it struck was captured by a cameraman at Gore bus station, full of people travelling on the public holiday. Resorts and villages all along the southern and eastern coasts were devastated. 36,000 people died on the island. But the personal tragedy that befell teenagers Rob and Paul Forkan was never made public.
Over the years, we haven't told anyone our story. It never came out in the media when it initially happened.
Hey, I'm Rob, and this is my brother Paul. In our early years, our parents took us on a random holiday to India, which inspired them to pull us out of school at 13 and 11 to go on a trip of a lifetime discovering the world.
Now, on the 10th anniversary, the brothers are telling their story, how they lost their parents in the tsunami and why they started their flip-flop business, Gandys.
Our story is very unique in the sense of there's no other brand that's been set up by orphans to help fellow orphans.
When we initially started, we decided to put back 10% of the profits towards projects, and we came up with the idea of orphans for orphans in terms of the message.
Rob and Paul were teenagers when they went to Sri Lanka on holiday with their parents and their two younger siblings. They had spent the previous 3 years travelling around India, being taught by their parents.
We had this crazy upbringing, just seeing lots of different things and different cultures and learning just new things every day.
They went to Sri Lanka for a Christmas break, surfing at the resort of Weligama on the southern coast. When the wave hit on Boxing Day morning, the two boys were in their bedroom together.
Just got woke up by by some people screaming. We wondered what was going on, and water came into our room. And then before we knew it, there was kind of a brick wall, kind of at 200 miles an hour, whatever the speed it was, coming at us, and it was just a case of fighting for our lives, getting to the roofs.
They never saw their parents again.
The parents sacrificed themselves to get our youngest brother and sister out of their room, and then they went their separate ways, and that's kind of what happened there.
Robert and Paul spent hours searching for their family. They found their younger brother first, and finally, at the end of the day, they found their little sister. Both had been pushed up trees by their parents before they themselves were washed away. Through the chaos of the devastated country, the boys hitchhiked with their younger siblings almost 100 miles back to Colombo.
We're quite lucky that we were brought up like that. So if we were saying the other day that if the tsunami that happened to us when we were just on a 2-week holiday, we wouldn't have been as tough and we wouldn't have dealt with it how we have. But because we were travelling around and we always saw people a lot worse off than what we were, it kind of made it easier to deal with.
3 years ago, inspired by their parents' entrepreneurial spirit, the brothers set up their flip-flop business, which sprang from their love of travelling.
We instantly knew this was the perfect way of creating something sustainable in which we could build a brand based on our beliefs. And this is why we introduced Orphans for Orphans.
The success of the brand boosts their charity, the Gandy Foundation, which raises money for children in India and Sri Lanka.
There was young Sri Lankan children we met that helped us get home, or helped us on the day. You're kind of just grateful that those kind of people showed just the greatest side of human nature on a day of desperate need. So you then kind of feel yourself going, well, they helped us in our hour of need, so you then want to help them.
And this Christmas, they're seeing the concrete results as their first orphanage rises from its foundations in Sri Lanka.
The tsunami's basically given us no fear. So when we started Gandys out of our bedroom in Brixton a couple of years ago, we've come up against some massive barriers and brick walls. We've had legal cases and stuff thrown at us when we were sleeping on our sofa, not being able to afford our rent. Literally, we've had it all. But because of being in the tsunami, it's kind of gave us this attitude that nothing worse can happen to us, if that makes sense.